Here's a fly ball out towards center field. This one's going back, and this one is gone! Taylor gets this one out towards center field to the short porch, and it's a grand slam! That's a floater. Out to short. And it's booted off the shortstop. Gone! Just like they drew it from Hollywood. Caladros, the 3-2. Swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! Gone! Grant Fournier! Two-run shot to right! From the home of Carney's Point, the home of Bruce Willis and LeVar Scott, we bring you South Jersey Group 1 football here from the wonders of South Jersey. It's going to be the Paulsboro Red Raiders and the Penns Grove Red Devils in a highly touted battle on the 295 corridor here in Salem County. I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Damian Waiters on the call this afternoon from a beautiful sunny day, just 70 degrees here in Salem County this afternoon. And Dame, this is a game between two teams that have met each other every year for the past 9 seasons. Paulsboro winning the last 4 out of the 5 between these two, but last year was a game as entertaining as ever that even received national attention for Jeremiah Carr's touchdown catch back in Paulsboro this time last year. However, the final score was 12-7 with no scoring whatsoever in the second half. It's going to be an interesting one today.
It's going to be very interesting, Dan. Obviously, Jeremiah Carr with his ESPN top 10 candidate play last year. What a catch that was. Paulsboro looking to make a comeback this season and win the game once again. Paulsboro, their last campaign, 8-3. Penns Grove, 2-7. And you can only say that Coach Kevin Harvey, he's looking to really answer the call.
Well, the thing about Kevin Harvey, you know, for those that grew up with Kevin Harvey and those that grew up when he played high school football, everybody knows who Kevin Harvey is as a high school football player.
Absolutely.
He was one of the most fantastic athletes to ever grace a South Jersey high school football field. And now he comes in his 3rd season as a Paulsboro head coach. I mean, when you talk about filling in the shoes of a head coach that is retired, filling in the shoes of a guy like Glenn Howard is like filling in one of those massive Ronald McDonald shoes that are like 20 feet wide. That's how big the shoes are that Kevin Harvey has to fill. And last 2 years, they were not the years that they wanted out of Paulsboro. They had a little bit of a better campaign last year. They fell to Shalleck in the semifinals. But now it's time for Paulsboro to really show if they are going to go back to that era that Glenn Howard made Paulsboro known for. He was so legendary that they're renaming their stadium in Paulsboro after Glenn Howard in the 2025 season. But let's talk about Penns Grove. They've kind of had to reset for the last 2 years in a row. 2 years ago, John Emmel left as the head coach to go to West Deptford, and now Mark Macarone takes over for his 2nd year. But after going 2-7 with 2 shutout wins over Deptford and Salem in their bookends of the season, if you will, that's the thing about Penns Grove. They only won 2 games last year, and they're already back to the drawing board because of the graduation of Knowledge Young and the transfer of Karan Caesar from Penns Grove to Winslow.
Yes, Karan Caesar, a great rusher for Penns Grove in their last campaign in 2024. He had 885 yards throughout the season, and he was just a complete workhorse, you know, just able to really see the offensive line, see his holes, figure out where he could go and where he couldn't go, and we'll really be able to see with his transfer to Winslow how Penns Grove will put it together.
Again, the question is going to be, is this game going to be a lot like the 2024 game where it's low scoring but with a lot of passing, or is it going to be like the 2023 game where it's a little bit higher scoring? It's 22-19 Penns Grove in 2023, 12-7 Paulsboro in 2024. Both quarterbacks attempted over 100 passes last year. Malachi McKenzie had a 240 passing yard game last year in week 2. It's going to be an air raid today. And considering yesterday morning we had Clayton and Collingswood where the Clayton Clippers attempted 2 passes the whole game, it's a bit of a refresher to see the ball go back in the air again. Final thoughts before we go to break real quick.
No final thoughts. I'm ready to go. Both these teams look like it's where it's going to be. The ball's going to go through the air. What I've seen pregame, what I've seen warm-ups, it looks like the ball is really going to go through the air. Both quarterbacks, obviously Romello Erickson for Penns Grove and Malachi McKenzie for Paulsboro. They're really looking to get it. They're really looking to get it going. They're gonna air it out.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing for Romello Erickson and this entire Penns Grove team is that, listen, they won 2 games last year, but one of their closest games of the season was this very game last year. We're going to be right back. We've got the national anthem, coin toss, everything you need, and we've got the kickoff here at 12 noon from Jim Devonshire Field. We'll be right back. That's the Penns Grove High School Pep Band. Let's introduce, first of all, our officials for today's game. Referee Keith Harris, umpire Howard Clamo, linesman Nick Hewitt, line judge Steve Lopez, excuse me. Couldn't read the handwriting. Side judge Steve Farinelli, back judge Ed Vieira, and clock operator John Gallagher. Up in the booth with us tonight here at Jim Devonshire Field. Again, it's been 9 years in a row that Penns Grove and Paulsboro have played each other at some point in the regular season or in the postseason, including the 2017 South Jersey Sectional Championship at Rowan University in December of 2017. But we've got the Paulsboro Red Raiders. We've got the Penns Grove Red Devils. It's a battle of red on red on the 295 corridor. Again, I'm Dan Wilkins, joined by Damian Waiters in the booth, Ben Wilden on the production for this afternoon. It's 70 degrees here from Penns Grove. It's a fantastic Saturday afternoon. We've seen 2 Penns Grove games last year, one at home, one on the road, and this will be our first of, I believe, 2 Penns Grove games this season, including October 3rd in their rivalry week versus crosstown rival, the Pennsville Eagles. Paulsboro getting ready to kick this one off. Penns Grove back to receive. The 2 men In the backfield for Penns Grove is going to be number 25, being Messiah Allah, and then number 1, Terrell Thomas, back there for the Red Devils. Jeremiah Carr, the junior, ready to go. Just a few minutes behind schedule, but nothing egregious as we're underway here from Jim Devonshire Field. That one will go out of bounds on the left side. The second line of defense, Nasir Garris, running on the inside that time. It'll be a kick out of bounds.
Yeah, Carr didn't want that one to go he didn't want that kick to go like that, but he didn't want it to go too far as well. He's just trying to get the best of both worlds.
I mean, listen, kicking is hard to come by, especially in the special teams unit in Group 1 football. It's never easy. But it will be good field position for Romello Erickson, the senior quarterback, donning the red and white for the Red Devils this afternoon. Let's take a look at his player profile presented by Gray Fox Sports. Romello Erickson, he threw for 115 passes last year, completed 53 of them with 558 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. His best game easily, September 6th versus Deptford, threw for 172 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Got a stop at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that was an I formation handoff. That was an I formation handoff right there. That was Thomas on the carry, I believe. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I mean, I like the play. It's something simple. It's the first play of the game. It's something simple. It's something to get the party started. You get about 3 yards on the play.
Paulsboro was trying to open the door to the party. It was a defensive swarm right there to Thomas. Erickson, the shotgun look on second down.
Now another handoff up the middle. Not surprised that even in a pass-heavy offense on both sides that they are rushing the first 2 plays. Now it'll be third and about mid-range. Again on their own 37, it looks like. Actually, it'll be closer to the 40 because they did gain a yard or 2 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 6. And we'll now run maybe a pass play. We'll have to see. I mean, like we said, when you go to the air that many times in a season, it's almost expected that, you know, you'll carry that over. You've got the same head coach on both sides, Kevin Harvey, for Paulsboro, and then you've also got, you've got Mark Macaron in his second year with the Red Devils as well. Passed out to the flat, a hit after the whistle, but getting a little bit into it there, a little bit of friendly banter that time between.
They like the competition.
They like the competition, I'll tell you that. There was a false start on the play. However, during it, Erickson threw out to the left for Nazir Nocho Painter.
Painter and Carr getting into it. They like the competition.
Yeah, obviously nothing hostile, but, you know, these guys, listen, they come from 2 communities who really value, really value the team aspect of winning. Because, listen, Penns Grove, they were sectional champions a few years ago with John Emmel as a head coach, had an undefeated season back in 2018, 13-0. And, you know, we were talking with John Emmel the other day, the new head coach at, obviously, West Deptford in his second year there. And he said, listen, it's not long before Penns Grove can get back to where they were. As that one is intended for Nacho Painter.
No, it is not at all.
But it is incomplete to the left side.
It won't be hard. It will not be hard at all for this. It will not be hard at all for this Penns Grove team to get back to where they've been. Obviously, making it, winning multiple Group 1 sectional champions.
I mean, the theme of this weekend has kind of been teams that they definitely have had some good history, but now just trying to find their footing in a new era of high school football. As Penns Grove will punt, it's 4th and 10. It's a short snap. It was a slow snap. It'll be returned and. Oh, it's going to go right
Harvey
through his legs.
Harvey touched it.
I think Kyer Harvey did touch it. Did Penns Grove recover the punt?
My.
I believe they did. The celebration ensues from Nasir Garris. And that went right through the 5-hole of Kyer Harvey, right around the 35-yard line.
Yeah, if you were looking right there, Harvey, he took kind of a false step, almost was going to let it bounce, but off the bounce, he kind of stepped towards it. You know, once it bounces, that that one time, if you're going to get away from it, you got to get away then.
Referees are discussing this, though. Again, it was hard to tell from our angle. I mean, you said Kyer Harvey made contact. It just went straight through his legs. Now, we did cover a Penns Grove game last year that had a very infamous punt mistake versus Woodbury in their game where Penns Grove made almost a brutal error where they tipped the ball with their fingers. The head coach was yelling something along the lines of get away from the ball in some sort of code. Penns Grove didn't hear it. They touched the ball and gave it right to Woodbury in a game that Woodbury won 37-25. Penns Grove ball. How about that? So they will flip the field on a punt, and they will retain the possession from the opposing 35. It's a great way to start the game, I'll tell you that. If you're Mark Macarone, this is a trendsetter. This is a mood swinger. It's something that, listen, you almost went 3 and out. Now you have the opportunity to get yourself in very good field position and just a couple of yards away from the red zone. Timeout called by the officials, and Penns Grove burns their first timeout of the afternoon. We'll take a quick break. No score, but a odd punting play keeps us scoreless with 9:31 left in the first quarter. Just getting started from Jim Devonshire. Whenever you're ready. Paulsboro 0, Penns Grove 0. Still in the first drive of the afternoon here from Jim Devonshire Field. And again, the hometown of a lot of greats here in South Jersey. The actors Bruce Willis and John Forsythe. A more recent notable alum of Penns Grove, of course, LeVar Scott, the driver in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, class of 2021 in Penns Grove. Right side rush. 31. It was funny a couple weeks ago. I think it was right around late July. I went to Dover Motor Speedway in Dover, Delaware, and LeVar Scott was actually making his Xfinity Series debut, which, for those that are not familiar with racing, Xfinity Series is more of the AAA of NASCAR. Have some developing prospects and then have some folks that have been lifetime competitors there. But Scott, in a rain-shortened finish, finished on the lead lap in 23rd place. Out of 38, I believe. 2nd and 7 from the 31-yard line in the I form for Erickson and crew.
Oh, they got
and
him to jump.
I think they got him to jump on the defensive line. Flags come in.
Offside against the Red Raiders.
Red Raiders do get called for an offside. It's going to be 2nd and short here.
Brings up the 2nd and short.
2nd and short after the 5-yard knock against the Red Raiders. Moves them closer to the red zone as well. Erickson, handoff up the middle. Everybody falling over each other after the play. And again, with both quarterbacks attempting over 100 passes last year, and then, of course, Paulsboro's quarterback Malachi McKenzie throwing for over 1,200 passing yards, that's not a common thing in high school football in Group 1. It's not a common thing in high school football. It is even less common in Group 1. We talked about it in Clayton and Collingswood yesterday, as they do get a first down, by the way, on that rush. With in the backfield, that would be Jameel Horace, the 5'9" back, his senior campaign. 1st and 10. Another handoff, so a little bit different from what we're used to from these two teams, but maybe later in the game we'll see some more passing attempted. But we were talking about Clayton and Collingswood yesterday, and what was interesting was that Collingswood quarterback John Antrilli attempted 20 passes during that game. He went 12 for 20, threw for 168 yards, 2 touchdowns. Here's the difference, though. Clayton, Gabriel Hill, attempted 2 passes. One was a sack. The other was a completion for about 20 yards in desperation time in the 4th quarter.
When they needed it.
But here's the thing. One quarterback attempts 20 passes, the other quarterback attempts 2. The difference lies, in my opinion, with the head coaches. John Chamberlain, the head coach for Clayton, was a running back at McDaniel College, which was a run-heavy offense when he was there. Mike McEwen was a wide receiver at LaSalle, which was a pass-heavy offense. He holds several school records for the now closed LaSalle football program. So it doesn't surprise me that a head coach that was a former collegiate wide receiver is going to run a pass-favorable offense, especially when he has the weapons to do it, like Lino Badaloni, Caden Luby, and, of course, the quarterback, John Antrilli. Penns Grove was in the trips formation on that play.
Trips and just a
rush out to the right. We got penalties at the end of the play.
Snap and go. You really got to wonder what Penns Grove was looking to do out of these formations. I mean, they're getting really, really good spacing.
I saw holding, but I didn't see which side. Referee didn't signal offense or defensive. Defensive holding.
Wow.
Defensive holding against the Red Raiders.
Well, I think if Penns Grove gets in the end zone, Paulsboro can attribute it to their mistakes that got Penns Grove in the end zone. Sometimes you just have to tip your cap and say that, whatever. We let them score. There was nothing we could do about it. In this case, there's absolutely a lot they could do about it. They punted from their own 30 on 4th and long after a false start, and they were able to flip the field with a kind of, again, through the 5-hole mistake there by Kyer Harvey. And now they pick up a defensive holding penalty, which will play to their benefit again. So Penns Grove gliding down the field, taking advantage of 2 key Paulsboro mistakes in this first drive. But one thing I'll tell you, look at how much time has been off the clock. We're almost halfway through the first quarter, and this is still the first drive of the game.
Penns Grove
3 trips right for Penns Grove. Erickson in the shotgun hands it off to Horace.
Horace again. Good rush right there.
Long run by Janelle Horace.
Yeah, only 1 pass attempted, and that was already waved off. So it was, again, I don't know if, again, it's week 0. Week 0 is never indicative of what you're going to see in late October.
Absolutely.
When Penns Grove plays Salem at the end of the year with Kemp Carr, like we saw last year, Penns Grove won that game 25-0, but I saw Penns Grove at the bookends of the season. Penns Grove was our first Saturday game of the year, and it was our last Saturday game in the regular season. Those 2 teams looked entirely different. But Penns Grove's 2 wins last year, both coming in shutout victories over Deptford and Salem, respectively, in Week 2 and Week 8 of the season. They're looking for a lot more than that in 2025. 1st and 10 from around the 14-yard line. Believe that was a keeper that time. Didn't get too far, but still, Penns Grove breaking from our pregame research with a rush-heavy first drive that has knocked 7 minutes off the clock.
Run by Romello Erickson.
Yeah, that Paulsboro front is just not fooled. 58, DeJean Williams, also 55, Chris Neff. They're just completely putting it to the quarterback right now as far as pressure, moving him out of the pocket, not even letting him being able to read that midline.
Yeah, and again, like we said, in this first drive, we're now 4:45 left in the first quarter with the first drive of the game. No wonder why last year's game was 12-7. We didn't see any scoring in the second half. It's drives like these that, they really dig into the mind games of Group 1 football.
Hold you out.
Here we go. He called me out for it. He rolls out to the left. Paulsboro's defensive line closing in. That's helmet-to-helmet contact.
Wow.
Massive hit.
No flags.
Chasing in on that is number 10, Calvin Wilkinson Jr., and a massive hit on the quarterback. And now some more chirping between Carr and a Red Devil back there. And again, the competitive spirit stays alive, but, I mean, you could hear the pop from over here in the press box.
My goodness, Dan, could you?
If it wasn't helmet-to-helmet, it was very close. It was a big hit either way. And Penns Grove's efforts now starting to dwindle here as they're now back at 3rd and long. It's going to be 3rd and 16 from the Paulsboro 19-yard line. Still in the red zone, though, for the Red Devils. Again, 3rd and long, first down pylon or first down marker is around the 5, it looks like. Closer to the goal line, actually, the 2 or 3 yard line.
Another gun look for Penns Grove. We'll see what they do.
Almost botched the snap. Now it's tipped. Almost taken by Jeremiah Carr. Intended receiver was Nacho Painter.
Brings up 4th down.
And now it'll be 4th and long. And again, for our viewers that don't watch Group 1 football very often, I always get some comments sometimes about field goals. There's no such thing as field goal range in Group 1 football. If you're not standing on the goal line, there's not a good chance, especially with a lot of teams that don't actually have any specialized kickers or punters. A lot of times it's, teams. I went to Audubon. I know some teams, if they don't have a designated kicker or punter, they'll try it out with other positions and see who wants the job. Airs it out to the right side. Too far gone on that one. Intended again for the wide receiver on the right. Believe that is number 8, Nazir Nacho Painter. It was broken up by number 0, Kyer Harvey on the defense. We will have a turnover on downs, and after all of that, a drive that went 8 minutes and 43 seconds, no points.
Stalls
I feel
out.
like I'm watching the Iowa Hawkeyes,
Stalls.
the Big Ten West.
Change over on downs.
A lot of running football, but obviously they wanted that pass right there to Painter, split out wide, but just great defense there by Harvey. Made up for his mistake. He did muff the punt.
And it doesn't put Paulsboro in great position, but with their passing game, we'll see if McKenzie – I wouldn't be surprised if in this first set of downs, McKenzie tries to make a statement pass like we saw with Matthew Rossi last night, where he just tries to air it downfield. They've got a trips left formation here. Wouldn't be surprised if he tries to find one of those 3 downfield. Paulsboro only running with 1 safety on this play on the opening offensive play for Paulsboro. That will be a rush that is immediately swallowed up. Rush by Harvey. Let's take a look at Malachi McKenzie, his stats from the 2024 campaign, as the senior quarterback threw for 1,362 passing yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, had 7 games out of Paulsboro's 11 that they played across the playoffs in the regular season. 7 of them had 100 passing yards or more. And he also had 206 rushing yards. Bit of a mobile quarterback who could also sling the ball out. Really like those kinds of quarterbacks, those prototypes. His best game was versus Audubon on September the 7th in a 36-19 win. 19 for 27, 234 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions.
Yeah, Dan, it's clear with, Malachi McKenzie, just under 1,600 all-purpose yards last season. He is going to be the game changer. A lot of people talk about game managers when it comes to quarterbacks, especially in high school football, but he is going to be the game changer and was the game changer last year for this Paulsboro offense.
Listen, when Paulsboro, before they got realigned to the Patriot Division in 2024, Paulsboro was really not in a rough spot, but not in an ideal spot. 2023 or 2022, the last year of Glenn Howard's tenure before he retired, they went 6-5 at a 3-3 record in the WJFL Diamond. But then remember, these divisional cycles in the WJFL, it's not like the Shore Conference. They realign every 2 years instead of every year. Kevin Harvey's first year was 1-7. They were winless in the Diamond Division, and then they come back in 2024. They go from 1-7 back to 8-3. A lot more of a respectable season for the Red Raiders. McKenzie's in trouble. He's going to let it fly. He's wide open. How about this?
That's Robinson.
Finds a man downfield. It is Robinson who breaks 3, breaks a couple of tackles. He's going to get up to the 40. He might have an all-the-way touchdown to start off this Saturday afternoon. He's got it. All the way to the house. It's a 78-yard touchdown.
My goodness.
As he opens up the scoring, Jamal Robinson, the senior, on a rolling out to the right by Malachi McKenzie. He was pressured hard after the offensive line collapsed quickly, and Paulsboro made the best of what they had at 6-zip.
Yeah, if you can look back right there, Dan, McKenzie dropped back, the pocket broke, and absolutely just way too quickly. Couldn't even have time to think. He was looking for Robinson on that crossing route and was able to get him to go just a little bit deeper to lob it over the defense. But Robinson did the rest. Able to break 3 tackles and take it to the zone.
And I think everybody knows why a guy like Malachi McKenzie had that many rushing yards, had that many passing yards rather, because of situations like that where he comes up in the clutch. When an offensive line collapses that quickly, first of all, it's kind of a testament to what Penns Grove has been able to do on the defensive side. But at the same time, you know, I give my respect. I tip my cap to that because that is a fantastic way of getting out of the pocket. They're going to go for 2 here, up the middle, a rush up the gut, and it is no good. So just like last year, we'll see what they've got. We have over 80 folks tuning in from home. It's going to be more as we go along. 1:13 left in the first quarter. Paulsboro 6, Penns Grove 0. From Penns Grove, we get ready for the kickoff. This broadcast is brought to you by Rowan College of South Jersey at Gloucester campus. Become a Roadrunner today by visiting rcroadrunners.com to become a prospective student-athlete of the Roadrunners, or visit their academic website at rcsj.edu. We do have a gentleman from the Cumberland crew on our right, but RCSJ is the same nonetheless. Just one campus sponsors us, that's all. That's a kick that will just die in the grass. It's going to be toppled on by the Penns Grove returner at the 25. That's Terrell Thomas.
I'm not sure if Thomas really knew that he had time to pick that one up, but just get the ball. You know, if it bounces, especially on the kickoff, just get on.
6-0 Paulsboro after a 78-yard pass. If you're curious, the record for a longest passing touchdown in DWB is 91 by Gavin Prendergast in October of 2024 in a game between Florence and Cinnaminson, a game that Cinnaminson won 28-0. I love this Penns Grove marching band. I'm hearing a half drum signature breakdown of the typical fight song that we hear all the time. That's really cool. Handoff by Erickson.
Single back right there, lined up closely.
Oh, hold on, no whistles yet. Either there were no whistles or nobody was listening to them. We've got a shove in the pile. And yeah, everybody's trying to scram away here. And we've got a late flag. Somebody laid the magic touch. Somebody did something. And I think, again, the competitive spirit starts to boil over here. There's a Penns Grove player down. I think he was at the bottom of the dog pile after the rush.
This is never good.
It's not good. I mean, we talk about personal foul is going to be against Penns Grove. Or I think they called offset.
Offset, personal foul on both squads.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. There was pushing and shoving after that rush. And there is, again, a player down. At the end of the rush, there was a whole bunch of pushing and shoving. I couldn't tell, and I wouldn't speculate who started it or what, but in the middle of that, there were a couple of guys who were at the bottom of the dog pile while everybody was participating in the extracurriculars. And again, a Penns Grove lineman, it looks like, is down and getting attention from the Penns Grove coaching staff. So we'll hope he's okay. But again, things getting a little bit chippy. I don't remember last year's contest between these two teams being all that chippy. It was just felt like a really good, low-scoring football game. But last year and a year can make a world's difference. And with Paulsboro and Penns Grove both being teams in different divisions that they want to prove why they're there, they want to prove their worth in their division, they want to prove their worth to the folks at home. They want to be that team that people fear. Every football team wants to be one that their opponents fear.
Absolutely.
And, you know, when you have that competitive spirit, sometimes it can boil over a little bit. But at this point, it only took about 11 minutes into the first quarter for things to get a little bit hot.
Both of these squads, you know, trying to get back to Group 1 stardom at the top of their respective divisions.
Again, Paulsboro last year 5-1 in the WJFL Patriot Division. And that player is number 50 for Penns Grove, Raymond Brown, getting assistance from his fellow lineman to his left. He's unable to put weight on his left leg. He's being assisted by Antonio Cooper as he goes to the sideline. Really hope he's okay there, especially you never want to see anybody get hurt, but you also, more so, you never want to see anybody get hurt as the result of pushing and shoving after a play. So personal fouls, again, were assessed against both teams, so the penalty's offset. And it'll be second, and it looks like 7.
47 seconds left in the first quarter.
47.4 in the first.
Second and 7. The Red Devils.
So as we return from that break and as Brown receives attention from the medical staff or from the training staff here at Jim Devonshire Field in Penns Grove, Kearney's Point, the heart of Salem County, we'll have to make our mandatory trip to the Italian kitchen after the game.
Absolutely.
Flipping the running back to the right of Erickson. They fake the handoff, and it's a keeper for Erickson. We're going to have maybe 1 or 2 more plays before the end of the quarter.
Erickson,
and actually, this might be the last play of the quarter because it's 15 seconds left.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Erickson looks like he's just trying to get this little bit of a read option look. Just not able to really get the communication well to Thomas or Horace, both of his running backs in the backfield.
And again, clock winds down. Clock hits 0.
That'll do it.
And at the end of the first quarter here in Penns Grove, it's an early lead for the Red Raiders as a 78-yard pass from Malachi McKenzie all the way downfield to Jamal Robinson puts the Red Raiders on the board. We'll be right back 1 quarter of the way through here in Penns Grove. Second quarter here in Penns Grove. This broadcast is brought to you by the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators, or Dog Pro Wrestling. Tonight they have a Saturday night showdown as this one is tipped up and knocked down. Saturday night showdown for DAWG Pro Wrestling, Saturday, August 30th from the Chamberlain Student Center at Rowan University. Doors open at 8. And the first match is at 9 p.m. We will not be streaming, but we will be filming a promotion there for our good friend Lawrence Zirconium and the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. If you want your next event to have a little bit of flair to it, book DAWG Pro Wrestling for your next event by visiting their website at dawgprowrestling.com. Official timeout for a Paulsboro player down on the far side towards the 20. And Dame, the first quarter we've seen today, only one score, but what an opening drive by Penns Grove. Even though they didn't put any points on the board, took 8.5 minutes off the clock. And Paulsboro was still able to score despite that drive being limited.
Absolutely.
It was really interesting to see. And, you know, now, that, again, as we get deeper and deeper into this game, the question is, will Penns Grove continue to have those long, grueling drives, and will Paulsboro take advantage of them by flipping the field quickly? Or will Penns Grove have a better drive that second time and be able to get into the end zone or get some points on the board in a quicker fashion?
I think Penns Grove really has it. I mean, time of possession is really big in the game of football. Really, really big. You need time. You need time. And, you know, Paulsboro did score, you know, obviously after Penns Grove taking 8.5 minutes off of the clock. But with that time, if Penns Grove is able to get another long, just sustained drive like that, I think they'll be able to punch it in. And this defense looks very – they're looking to get after it. I mean, they look very aggressive. Paulsboro looks to have the upper hand right now, but this isn't far away for Penns Grove. It really isn't.
No, it's not far away at all. It's a one-score game. Last year's contest between these two was a one-score game. And, you know, now we start this second play of the second quarter with a little bit of a different line of thinking now that we've got Paulsboro with one score on the board. It's going to be fourth down on this play. You know, we don't know what's going to be the situation here for Penns Grove. They're moving along. They're not in the best field position, but they're not in bad field position. But there's still plenty of opportunities across these next three quarters for them to get on the board.
Penns Grove back on offense after the injury timeout.
There was another lineman that needed help off the field, number 56, Luis Colon. Special teams unit is on the field.
It's fourth down. And
we have more penalty flags. We have movement. So 4th and 6 from the 30. Referees are going to discuss what the penalty is. I didn't see who jumped first. And it looks like that it's either I think is that Romero Erickson back to punt?
Yes, it is.
How about that? Welcome to Group 1 football, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I think I did see that signal before. I think it was 12 men in the huddle. Because there's a difference between a too many men in the huddle penalty and a too many men on not too much of a difference, but illegal substitution looks like it's the call. So how about this? You need a punter? Just call your quarterback. Here's Romello Erickson. He pops this one up.
That's a pretty good one, too.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's going to get past Carr, and it gets a great spin that's going to land at the 48. So Paulsboro will take over in their own territory, not far from crossing it, but honestly, that was impressive for the senior quarterback.
It was a great punt there by Erickson. Able to get the ball to not only bounce and get some good yardage in that punt, but able to get it to turn over, and it bounces just outside of Penns Grove territory, but it is in Paulsboro territory. They'll start in their own half. Great punt there by Erickson. You don't want to give it to him easy. You know, you can't shank one and then go down 2 scores. It's not good. Last year's game was only 12-7.
And with that, the last touchdown of the day was the one by Jeremiah Carr that got featured on ESPN. It wasn't SportsCenter, but it was an NFL segment called "You Got Mossed," which is what Jeremiah Carr's video was featured on. Not filmed by us, but filmed by Tom McGurk. But either way, though, going to be a rush up the middle that gets them a yard or two. Point is, though, last year's game was so weird because there was a lot of fireworks in the first half. It was 12-7 at the half. Then 0 fourth quarter were both scoreless. And you rarely see that. I mean, to be fair, we see a lot of games where the scoring gets started early because teams aren't prepared, and then it winds down. Like, for example, last night, we were in Point Pleasant Beach last night for South River versus Point Pleasant. And the Garnet Gulls, they were up 30-0 at the half. The final score, 37-6. Only one touchdown by each side in the second half. And to be fair, that was also because the game was well decided by the time we were at halftime. Kyer Harvey with a rush up the middle gets about 5 yards. It'll be 3rd and short at the 45.
Harvey's another player you got to watch out for. If he gets in space, he can scoot. And by scoot, I mean he can go here 1 second and gone the next. Harvey has wheels.
Definitely does. And Paulsboro, you know, last year they had a very nice handful of rushers that were able to get some good plays. Remember seeing a couple of rushes by Marcus Eli last year, along with Caden Weber. Found some wildcat spots for Paulsboro last year. As Harvey rushed up the middle, this is going to be a first down and then some. He barrels his way all the way to the 34, and it's a first down and then some for the Red Raiders. There was also Sawyer Cabanas, who picked up some rush. But, I mean, Kyer Harvey, now a 2026 senior, going into his swan song campaign, you know, when we talk about great rushers, Kyer Harvey is a name that everybody should keep their eye on, especially with Group 1 football.
Absolutely, 100%.
Had 889 rushing yards last year and is able to barrel his way through again for another whole bunch of yards. And they're going to move the sticks again.
When you look
Another
at
first down, Paulsboro.
You look at Harvey's running style. He may not be the most patient back, but he hits a hole and he's ready to go. He's using his speed and he's using his ability to get skinny in between tackles and backers to pick up yardage, and it's really, really working right now for Paulsboro on this drive.
Well, I'll tell you this, Paulsboro's best game of the year for the combination of McKenzie and Harvey was September 7th versus Audubon. That was the game we talked about where Malachi McKenzie had 200-plus passing yards and a handful of touchdowns as well, and also his most efficient passing game where he made 19 to 24. But Kyer Harvey also shined in that game as well. That was a game that Paulsboro won 36-19 at Audubon. Harvey rushed for 14 rushes, 122 yards, and 3 touchdowns, including a 70-yard scramble. He had 4 games last year out of the 11 that Paulsboro played where he rushed for over 100. Hit 193, a season high versus Pennsville in a 36-14 win in October. 150 in the regular season closer versus Clayton, and 112 in the playoff game for Paulsboro versus Manville. Ducked out to the right. He's going to dive shy of the pylon. He's going to be short by maybe 2 yards.
That is Marcus Eli.
Marcus Eli on the pass. And that was a good just catch and run there. Nothing too crazy. Found a spot on the right side, and as you get closer to the end zone, you get hungrier and hungrier for those points. And it was always nice to see Paulsboro get back to the air here because neither team passed a lot in their first drive, but the pass that mattered most was Malachi McKenzie going 78 yards downfield. Now they really get a taste of their own medicine here with a high snap. Might take this one himself. He's going to go out to the left side. Could get towards the pylon here. He's got it. Touchdown, Paulsboro. 9-yard rush to the end zone.
Wow.
And Malachi McKenzie scrambles to the left with the entire intention of keeping the ball to himself. Gives Paulsboro their second touchdown of the day. It's 12-zip.
Can you change the game, or will you manage it, McKenzie? If you look back there on that last play, the whole Red Raider defense, I mean, they've been focusing on it all drive. The handoff's been going to Harvey right up through the middle, and he's been pounding them. He's been getting a lot. But on that read option play, Malachi McKenzie just keeps it for himself. And essentially nobody split out left, ready to make that tackle in open field. Paulsboro's up by 2 scores.
Well, last year's final was 12-7 Paulsboro, so if Paulsboro misses the PAT, or actually they're going to attempt 2 again. I believe they were 0 for 2 in last year's game. Oh, we got a jump. The nose tackle that time. I think that was number 50. I can't tell. It was somebody in the 50s. Jumped on Penns Grove's side. When I tell you we saw I did the math. In the first half of the South River Point Pleasant Beach game last night, there were more flags during PAT attempts than there were during any other play in yesterday's contest. It got a little push up the middle.
Wow,
We are
that's
near
good.
Philadelphia. There was a play like it. What do they say? It's only one can be like Nick Sirianni. However, Paulsboro gets through for 2. We'll take a quick break. 7:59 in the second quarter. Red Raiders already surpassing their point total from last year's matchup between these two. They're up 14-0. Paulsboro playing along. This one's going to go back through the end zone. Up 14-0. 7:56 in the second quarter. 9-yard rush to the house by Malachi McKenzie. QB scramble. So, it's shocking. This is our 4th game of the year. We've seen some high-scoring affairs. Clayton and Collingswood, 27-20. Point Pleasant Beach put up 37 last night. That is the first touchback of the season that we've seen.
Wow.
Took us 4 games to do it, which honestly, it's not that surprising. Again, we talked about special teams in Group 1 football. Sometimes a kick out of bounds is more common than a touchback, so he just drilled that right through the back of it. Again, under 8 minutes left in the second quarter, in the first half, as Paulsboro up by 2 scores. Penns Grove still looking to get back into this game, but it doesn't look terrible for Penns Grove. Again, they've been running some good drives. It's just a matter of putting 2 and 2 together and getting into the end zone. 2 wide receivers on each side. A keeper for Romello Erickson gets hit. Rolls forward at the 27, maybe 28. It'll be a gain of 2 or 3. Second down for the Red Devils.
Love those keepers for Erickson, but especially he's running right into the front 7. It's only going to do so much. Oh, we do have a player down.
Another player down for Penns Grove. They've had a couple of stoppages for attention, and Jameel Harris, who had the rush, it was a QB keeper, but Harris was one of the lead blockers that time. The mics were just for somebody. Somebody wants them to drink pickle juice. Like scientifically backed that like pickle juice is good for hydration? Because I have like the Pedialyte. Oh yeah.
Yeah, all of my youth football players know your coach might sneak some pickle juice in that Gatorade bar, in that Gatorade jug instead of some regular Gatorade. You think you're drinking some Gatorade? Might just be a little.
Well,
bit
they've
of
got
pickle
Gator
juice.
Light now. That's like a Gatorade version of Pedialyte. It's got like more I use that when I work out. Not sponsored, by the way. Harper Driving School. Over 90% of students who take their New Jersey State driving test with Harper Driving School. Those odds. Book an appointment today. Suite 4 of the Total Turf Complex in Pittman, 614 Lambs Road. Again, 14-0 Red Raiders over the Red Devils. It's a battle of red on red on the 295 corridor. Exit 18 versus exit 4. I don't remember the exits off the top of my head. I just remember when we went to Paulsboro all the time.
It's about that, I believe.
It's around the exit 18 mark. Because West Deptford, where you are, is like 24.
Yep.
Woodbury's right around the same one, and then you got Pennsville and Salem all the way at the end. Take it a little bit further, and you go into Wilmington, Delaware. 7:10 left in the first half. After an injury timeout, it's 2nd and 7 from the 28, Penns Grove's own 28.
Single back for Penns Grove.
They pitch it back to the left side for Thomas.
Not sure if that option would work right there.
Yeah, went to the right side, went with a little something different there as some Paulsboro players trip it over themselves on the sideline there. That was Zay Mears and Zion Bagby.
This run scheme for Penns Grove is not a bad run scheme at all. It really is not. But when you have Paulsboro has back, they have defenders, safeties, and corners that are willing to run with these guys, the receivers to break up passes, and are willing to, again, run with these guys to get into the backfield. Those defenses flying all over the field.
Yeah, I mean this is interesting the way that we see this this called right now for Penns Grove. I'm surprised that they're not going to the air more. But with clock stop with 6:52 left, they're at the 22-yard line. So Penns Grove calls their second timeout of the night. Week 1 of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting football. We've got another Thursday, Friday, Saturday triple header for you on DWB. Tune in on Thursday, September 4th, between the Pennsauken Indians and the Washington Township Minutemen. That is going to be a fantastic matchup on Thursday night from Tom Brown Field at 6 p.m. And then we go down back to the Shore Conference for a special game on Friday, September 5th, between the Barnegat Bengals and the Manchester Township Hawks. That will be a game where Athletic Director Keith Lister for Manchester Township is retiring after 38 years of service for Manchester Township.
Wow.
They will have a pregame ceremony at 5:45. Our pregame show will start at 5:30 because of that. And then Saturday we go back home, go a little bit closer to home for a North versus South parochial battle between the Morris Catholic Crusaders and the Gloucester Catholic Rams from Gloucester City High School, I guess, permanent home field. 11 a.m. Saturday on September 6th. Third and mid-range. They do finally go to the air. They're going to let it fly. Left side, one-on-one coverage. It's almost picked off by Jeremiah Carr. It was intended for Messiah Allah.
And he was looking for Allah right there, but it was almost directly to number 3, Jeremiah Carr, the safety for Paulsboro.
I mean, Carr was chasing that one back. It was over his head. And as he was trailing that one back, like we said, it just went right over his head. And it would have been a perfect interception for him. But again, his back wasn't turned to the ball. He was still trying to trail it. So it was a little bit too much for everybody. And Erickson will go back from the quarterback to the punting position. And we'll see a 4th and 7 punt from the 22 with 6:44 left in the second quarter. Oh, botched snap, a low punt that almost got blocked. Penns Grove picks it up at the 45. The returner would have been Harvey. Instead, making contact was number 12, who is not on our – we don't see a number 12 on our roster. But either way, no harm, no foul. They started off from the 45.
You know, if you're the Penns Grove defense, a stop has to be put on right here. I mean, you've been playing pretty well. Two scores, you know, being down 2 scores will kind of counteract that statement a little bit. But other than that, you've been playing pretty well. You have to put pressure on this quarterback. You have to put pressure on this quarterback. McKenzie can run.
Yeah, they have to figure out how to attack the quarterback, because the Penns Grove defensive line has been holding up. They pass it out to the flat. Carr cuts to the right, gets hit double as he gets sent to the ground by number 66, Isaiah Upshur. Carr on the reception, though, gets about 6 yards. One of the things that's interesting, though, about Malachi McKenzie, and we talked about how they didn't go to the air too much, is that he only attempted 12 passes in last year's game versus Penns Grove. He went 6 for 12 with 84 yards. In the game after that was that 19 for 27 game with 234 passing yards. But he also had other games where he didn't have as many attempts. I think that Paulsboro plays it ear by ear or game by game, and you know they don't force the pass if they don't have to. He only attempted 10 passes versus Overbrook, 9 versus Shalleck, and then the next week, 21 versus West Deptford. Look at Harvey. Steps out at the 10-yard line. A fantastic rush by Harvey puts Paulsboro in another position in the red zone.
And like you said, Dan, they don't go to the pass if they don't have to, man. Kyer Harvey, a speedster, out of the backfield.
I mean, this is what makes Kyer Harvey and Paulsboro in general so dangerous. You have a quarterback who can find receivers downfield, can scramble out of the pocket when the offensive line doesn't hold up, and then if that doesn't work, go to your running back, go to your gut, go to Kyer Harvey, and you'll be fine. Handoff on 1st and 10
Gets
from the
another give.
13-yard line, 15-yard line, check that. Another whole bunch of yards as they scramble at light speed to the goal line.
This Paulsboro front five is getting a really good push. That offensive line is opening up those holes for Harvey. I mean, he wouldn't be able to do it by himself.
Brings up the 2nd and 1.
Indeed, 2nd and 1. They got 9 yards that time. Again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Harvey breaks free, dives forward, and it's a touchdown, Paulsboro. That's their 3rd of the day. It's Kyer Harvey's 1st of the afternoon, and Paulsboro has extended their lead to 20 here at Jim Devonshire Field.
You got to pick your poison. You know, the Paulsboro offense telling this Penns Grove team to pick their poison. I mean, you got Malachi McKenzie. He's willing to keep it. He's a quarterback. He's dual threat. He can use his legs. He can throw. He can do it all. But they keep it where the drive has been. Compared to last drive, McKenzie finished it off, and this time Harvey finished it off. 3 scores now for Paulsboro. Looking to make it 21, hopefully, on this extra point. Maybe 22.
Well, they will go for 2. Again, I think it's pretty much a guarantee if Paulsboro's in the end zone that a 2-point conversion will be in order. McKenzie rolls out to the right. He is hit, and I think he's going to be well shot. Put 2-point conversion is no good. Red Raiders are 1 for 3 in that mark today. Conversion is no good. Red Raiders are 1 for 3 in that mark today, and they are up by 20. 5:02 left in the second. We'll be right back. It's 20-0 Red Raiders.
5 minutes left until halftime.
All right, sorry about that. We had a brief outage. You missed a rush to the right side for 2 yards. 2nd and 8 from Penns Grove's own 48.
Option.
It's going to be an option. Quarterback keeps it, hit, and wrestled out of bounds. He takes care of Paulsboro's number 54, Amari Herbert Roberts.
And a good option rush there.
To secure those locations. It made a little bit more sense last year when Thursday was at Carey Stadium in Ocean City, and then the other 2 days were at Stadium in Ocean City, and then the other 2 days were at it was Egg Harbor Township. Egg Harbor is still down the shore, and that's a massive venue. Be interesting if they tried it at like Stockton, maybe. I don't know if that's something they've already tried, but I'm just saying, I'm airing it out there. Although I will concede that Rowan is very convenient for me, being just down the road. From DWB headquarters. 4th and short, rush by the Red Devils. Will they be able to get it across? This is going to be close.
It's going to be close, really close.
Believe that rush will get it across. This is going to be close.
It's going to be close, really close.
Believe that rush was by Thomas. 4th and short, Paulsboro lineman dealing and getting up there. That's Chris Neff.
They're going to spot him on the line, or they're going to give it to him.
They're going to give it to him, but I won't be surprised. There will be 17.4 on the clock.
Penns Grove also dealing with multiple injuries as this first half comes to an end. Offensive line is taking a good bit of a hit for Penns Grove.
Well, as we get towards the end of the first half, the road ahead for both of these teams. Paulsboro will be playing Audubon next week on September the 7th. Of course, both of those programs at home fields without lights, without permanent light fixtures, that is. So they'll have to play your normal 11 a.m. starts.
Love some Saturday morning football.
Yeah, look where we are right now, Saturday morning football. We've got a Saturday game every week of the year. It's always fun. I love it. I wish every team would have one game on a Saturday morning.
On a Saturday morning, right?
I don't care if you have lights or not. Give us a Saturday 11 a.m. game. You know, fire up the griddle.
Yeah, there's just something
get some paninis down there or something. Like every team should have one home game. Like not every team does a homecoming game anymore. And if they do, they'll do it at night. I want to see a homecoming game at 12 p.m.
Backside pressure.
Too far on it. I like what they were going for. Erickson was hit as he threw. The coverage that time by Harvey and Cabanas. 8.2 seconds left.
That one was intended for number 7, Xavier Allah. And if you're Erickson, you're looking at Xavier like, why would you stop running, buddy? You got to run under that one. You can't just stop and try to high point it. You know, you got a safety on you. And Kyer Harvey, you know, he can't be no taller than about 5'7".
Harvey is listed as 5'5", 160 on the roster.
You got to run under that one. Run under that one. Try to high point it when the ball's a little bit lower.
And after the incompletion, it'll be a turnover on downs, and Paulsboro will have one play left. Imagine they either just run it up the gut or take a knee before the half.
Yep.
But Paulsboro again in the road ahead. They open up their season at home on Saturday the 6th versus Audubon. They are on the road versus Camden Catholic on the 12th. Collingswood on the 20th at home, and then 3 straight road games, Overbrook, Shallock, and Pennsville, and then back-to-back home games to close out the season, the 18th versus West Effort and the 25th versus Clayton. So there's your Paulsboro Red Raiders schedule. The clock at Jim Devonshire Field on top of the Jack Ware track will run down to 0, and at the end of the first half, it's been all the Red Raiders as they lead this thing 20-0. We've had a passing touchdown for 78 yards. We had a 9-yard quarterback scramble by Malachi McKenzie, and then a 10-yard touchdown by Kyer Harvey. Gets the first half on a very positive note for Paulsboro. We will be back in about 15 minutes for the halftime show presented by Gray Fox Sports. As for now, enjoy the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Archives show, our halftime entertainment, where you take a look at the best of the best from Dan Wilkins Broadcasting's 4-year history, from walk-off home runs to game-winning touchdowns and everything in between, here on the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting Archives show.
Ladies and gentlemen,
In life, the road ahead is full of possibilities, but to navigate it safely, you need the right skills. Harper Driving School is the premier driving school serving Gloucester, Salem, and Camden counties. With experienced instructors, many of whom are teachers in local schools, we are dedicated to your success and will help you master the road with confidence. With an over 95% success rate of students passing their road test on their first try, you know your student will be in good hands while embarking young adult lives, all while avoiding the lines at the DMV and getting insurance discounts.
We chose Harper, and so should you.
May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It is the responsibility of all of us to make sure that our friends, family, and anybody who we hold dear in our lives is feeling well. The problem with spotting mental health issues is that the symptoms aren't that obvious. Just because someone is okay or appears okay on the outside doesn't mean that they're okay on the inside. It's important that if they are in distress, that they call the right people and they get the help that they need.
And it is very important that we treat each other with respect, regardless of who you are or where you come from. But it is just as important that we treat ourselves with respect, regardless of the situation going on in our lives.
If you're in distress, you can call this number, 988, or you can visit any of these websites if you're not in distress but would like to learn more information about mental health awareness and research.
And it gets past everybody. Graham will go back to position with no goal scored. They'll count down the time out loud here. Out to the left. One final shot, and it gets through. How about a buzzer beater? How do you do?
To end the day for Luke Pokrovsky. Little pop-up, first base side, he calls for it, and for the first time in 33 years, the Charlotte Cougars will hoist the trophy and face Middlesex on Monday.
Fire.
4-3. It's going to get over the head of Tolbert into left field. That's a base hit. 2-run score. Argabright delivers when asked. 5-3.
Emma Spire.
Alex Argabright has given the Golden Eagles a 5-3 lead in the middle of the sixth inning. When the weekend turns around to Monday.
They do it in a walk-off fashion as GC with Mastero playing hero. An unbelievable
And it gets past everybody. just a moment. But both teams getting ready to take the field again for the second half. My biggest takeaway from the first half was that Paulsboro seemed a lot more ready week 0 than they were last year. Remember, if you remember last year's game between these two teams that we covered at Paulsboro, it was 12-7 the final. There was a touchdown by Paulsboro to open the game. Penns Grove returned the favor in the first quarter, and then Jeremiah Carr had that highlight catch at the end of the second quarter. But there was no scoring in the second half. Now, that could still happen today, but honestly, considering Penns Grove won the 2023 matchup between these two, 22-19, and Paulsboro has won the last 4 or 5, the trends point towards Paulsboro because the one game that Penns Grove won versus these guys was a 3-point win at home. But it's not all out of the equation. We've seen some silver linings from Penns Grove. They've had some decent passing plans, but they haven't really used them much. That's the problem. I don't think their run game has been what they wanted it to be. And, again, both quarterbacks came into this game throwing over 100 passes, throwing over 100 passing attempts last year. And then, of course, Malachi McKenzie with his incredible 1,300 passing yards from his junior campaign. Paulsboro brought back a good amount of their core. Penns Grove didn't. They still kept their quarterback, Romello Erickson. However, they lost their leading receiver, Knowledge Young, and they lost their leading rusher, Karan Caesar, to a transfer to Winslow. So, again, we talked about in the open with Damien that this is Mark Macarone's second year with the Red Devils, but he has kind of had to restart again. He had to restart in 2024 because he was new, and Penns Grove needed to kind of fill the shoes of John Emmel, but they've had to reset again because they've lost a lot of their core. Now, they still have a lot of bright spots on this team, and I don't think that they're going to be going away anytime soon, but this is a much more dominant performance as we say hello to Darius Quarles to our left. We'll see you in December, all right? Either way, though, great guy, Darius Quarles, head coach of Paulsboro boys basketball. But what we're saying, what we're getting our point at is Paulsboro's played a lot better than they did last year in this game. Penns Grove right now just a little bit down on their luck. What do I think they should work on? I think they should pass the ball more, but I think that Erickson should stay in the pocket while doing so. Their offensive line has held up somewhat well. They've held up a lot better than Paulsboro's offensive line, and you saw how Malachi McKenzie was able to work it. He was able to scramble out of the pocket right away, and that's where he found that 78-yard touchdown to Jamal Robinson to open up the scoring today. So the question will be, will Paulsboro keep on the trends, or will Penns Grove cut the lead? It's 20-0. We've got 24 minutes of football left to play. Penns Grove has not yet taken the field, so it kind of extends our halftime break a little bit. But we'll be back in just a few with the Red Devils and the Red Raiders. It's a battle of red on red on the 295 corridor. We'll be right back. Here in the third quarter from Jim Devonshire Field, I'm Dan Wilkins. They don't have a great return start. They'll be starting the third quarter and starting the second half from their 22.
First and 10 for the Red Raiders, and that means he's back on the field. It's Malachi McKenzie.
Man, we've been watching all day. Opened up the scoring with a 78-yard pass to Jamal Robinson. And that was an impressive play in its own right because he had to scramble out of the pocket to get there. And again, went all the way downfield for it.
Eyes downfield the entire time, almost directing, his receiver with his off-throwing hand on where to go to be able to receive that pass.
McKenzie handoff to Harvey. Barrels through, but not too far. He's going to go up past the 20. And it's going to land right on the 21 for gain of 2.
I just have a feeling this Paulsboro team is going to be really fun to watch. This game and, beyond for the rest of the season. A lot of speed, a lot of playmakers. I'm sure Jeremiah Carr is looking to put another great play on TV for everybody to watch.
Indeed, it's going to be fun. But listen, when we talk about Romello Erickson, who has 729 career passing yards, we talked about how even though both quarterbacks were pass-oriented, there were only 15 attempts that he made in that game as a big hit from the back by the Red Devils. Their first of the second half. We'll take a quick. Passing back, McKenzie, while we were gone, there was a face mask penalty on Penns Grove. It's caught by Cabanas, or rather, Marcus Eli. Touchdown, Paulsboro. Right into the corner that time. A 22-yard touchdown.
Wow.
We come back in the nick of time as Marcus Eli finds the end zone. It's the second passing touchdown by McKenzie today. Now makes it a 26-0 lead for Paulsboro.
Yeah, Marcus Eli on that deep crossing route, able to catch it and bring a couple of defenders into the end zone with him, stretching out for that play to get into the zone. Eli, a great two-way player, wide receiver, and DB for this Paulsboro Red Raider team, and he is looking to make another impact for his junior campaign.
Well, he picks up the touchdown on the right side that time for 22 yards, and again, if anything is, if there's any reason to follow the trend of two-point conversions, it could make it an even 28, and considering, again, correctly so, they'll be going for 2. They are 1 for 3 in that department.
1 for 3 going for 2. They had a player jump.
And we've got movement. False start on the offense.
False start. Red Raiders.
Yeah, another two-point conversion try for Paulsboro on that wishbone, that little wishbone formation. 3 players down in the backfield, a little bit of old school. Works. Oh, after this flag, you'd imagine that they're probably going to switch it up now.
Yeah, they'd have to switch it up. Obviously, still going for 2, but they'll be back at, looks like the 7-yard line. It looks like. But again, false start on the offense, movement on the offensive line, not to be confused with the Bach first movement and Brandenburg concerto. But listen, we have to. I didn't know where that joke was going to land, and it landed flat on its face. But I'll tell you this after the play. Double hike that time. McKenzie rolls out to the left, and he is going to dance through the pylon.
McKenzie keeping it out left.
Makes itself a 28-0 game. I'll tell you this, though. Even though that joke was unsuccessful, Dan Wilkins Broadcasting is the only business where you will get jokes about classical music in reference to a false start. We have a little bit of fun around here, especially with the score being as it is. like I said, we were lucky to have one-score game this weekend. Clayton and Collingswood 27-20. That was a fantastic Group 1 game.
Amazing.
I mean, 3 out of the 4 games we covered this weekend were Group 1. Clayton and Collingswood on Friday, South River and Point Pleasant Beach on Friday night, and then today. So 3 in a row for Group 1, and then we go back. Our next Group 1 game is going to be Thursday, September the 11th with Kip Cooper versus Buna. And then I believe that we are working on getting Overbrook Pennsville for Friday, September 12th. So if that's true, then week 2 is going to be all Group 1 again. It's going to be Kip Cooper, Buna on Thursday, Overbrook Pennsville on Friday, and then Bordentown Audubon at my alma mater on Saturday.
Some great Group 1 football going on to start the season around South Jersey.
And again, I think everybody knows, the team that's favored far and away is Glassboro, but there's plenty of talent through and through on every team. We've seen it with Paulsboro. I mean, listen, Paulsboro's looking like they're back at form. Kyer Harvey has really impressed, and when you can have those multitudes of threats on the passing side, on the rushing side, and on the receiving side, makes it really successful. Penns Grove taking the return in stride. He's got some room. He gets leveled from underneath him. The rush and the return by Zane Thomas gets him right back to midfield. And with 6:03 left in quarter number 3, Penns Grove takes over at the 50. Don't get much better than that. I mean, if he had broken that was the last line of defense. He got hit from underneath him. And now as Penns Grove looks for their first scores of the afternoon.
Yeah, that was a great return there for Penns Grove. Thomas probably trying to take a little bit of that true rushing attack that Penns Grove sported last year. Trying to bring it back, along as well with Jamil Horace and Terrell Thomas. Penns Grove not abandoning who they are at heart, and that is a ground and pound team through and through.
They will go into the I form for 7 or 8 yards across midfield for second down and short from around the 42-43.
Strong run, Terrell Thomas.
And we have whistles.
He's up a 2nd and 2.
There's a Penns Grove player going down, I believe. Yep. Again, I don't like to speculate, but when you stretch out the leg points to a cramp, which you heard it yesterday on the Collingswood broadcast. I call week 0 cramp week because that's how it is. We had the Collingswood Clayton game last year. We covered it from Haupt Field. That game, there were so many cramp timeouts. It was unbelievable. It was hot. It was a Friday night, and the game itself took over 3 hours to complete. Or it might have taken like 2:45. I'm not sure, but we didn't. It was a 7 o'clock kickoff. We didn't get out of Clayton until 10:30 that night. There were so many cramps. The first quarter was 32 minutes long. Had 16 flags. My admiration for this week is that there's been a lot more disciplined football this week that we've seen. I don't know what the circumstances could be, but it's kind of made it so that these teams seem a lot more ready to go than they have been in previous years that we've covered. There's been a lot less mistakes being made, at least crucial mistakes. But I'll give Paulsboro credit for taking advantage of their prior mistakes from the first drive in that time-eating, time-chewing drive from the first play that Penns Grove had. They ran an 8.5-minute drive to open up the game, and obviously that's never an easy pill to swallow if you run a play for that long, run a drive for that long, and you don't score.
Never at all.
But at the same time, my other stipulation is that Paulsboro had that bad muffed punt that Penns Grove recovered, and they also had a couple of personal foul penalties on that drive as well.
Yes.
They have recovered from that in stride. I didn't know how close this game was going to be because it looked like Paulsboro was making mistakes, but as soon as that first defensive drive was over and they made that stop on the turnover, they were fine. They figured everything out, and they were able to get into the end zone 4 times in this one.
Absolutely. After that, able to get off the field right there and Kyer waiting back there to return that punt. Obviously didn't go through his way, fell right through the bread basket, hurt him a little bit. But literally since that moment, Paulsboro has turned it around. Malachi McKenzie has been doing all he can do. Kyer as well, he has a score. It's just been everywhere right now for the Red Raiders. Penns Grove is just, I don't know, it feels like they're looking to weather the storm.
I'll tell you this, both Kevin Harvey and there's Paulsboro and Penns Grove staff assisting Terrell Thomas. Again, I was kind of being half sarcastic when I said that it was just when it was a cramp, but he was down on the ground for longer than we expected, and he's getting a handful of assistance.
It's good to see him up and moving.
It's good to see him up and moving, but he seems to be struggling a little bit. So hopefully he's okay. And again, insult to injury is being added in a 28-point game when, yeah, he's not putting weight on either leg. He's being helped off the field.
That's never good.
That's number 12 helping him. We don't have a number 12 on our roster for Penns Grove, but kudos to him for lifting up his right leg. They're supporting his legs, but they're not touching the ground. And again, they started stretching out his leg just like a cramp, and then they kind of switched gears and they decided to do something else. So they've got to put him down and figure out the next course of action for Terrell Thomas. But in a game where you're already down big, it's not what you want to see. It's never what you want to see.
Never what you want to see at all, already being down big. It's a big question to see if he'll return this one, even if it turns out to be not as serious.
Right side. He's got some
keeper
room.
for-
He's gone. He might need one more block.
Wow.
He's down at the 10. And Penns Grove breaks through for their best individual run of the night. It comes from Jamil Horace, who did not get a lot of rushes in the second quarter after being a primary rusher in the first. They've been on a bit of a cycle here. And they now get him solidly into the red zone after the injury delay, the first play back from scrimmage. They are all the way up at the, looking for what they've got on the scoreboard there on the video board to see where they spot it. It's hard to tell with the taller grass.
Looks like they'll put it on the 10-yard line.
Yeah, right around the 10.
Yeah.
I mean, the grass is a little bit taller and the paint lines are a little bit faded,
Yeah,
so it's a little bit hard to tell.
Very faded, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty decently faded, so it's a little bit hard to tell where everything's spotted from time to time, especially when we're lined up at the 50 and those guys are downfield. First and 10. Oh, that's a jump from the right tackle. Number 66, Isaiah Upshur. We've got a false start. You're still in the red zone at the 15, but you'd much rather go first and 10 than first and 15, we'll tell you that much.
Absolutely. You still are in the red zone. Much of a chance, Penns Grove loves to be in this situation right now. They would love to be in this situation all game, but right now, right here, being in the red zone, you have to put this one in. Being down 4 scores, this one has to see the end zone. It has to.
And movement on the wide receiver.
Drive killers, man. Drive killers.
That's back-to-back. And it's now first and 20. So that time, I usually don't see a lot of wide receivers have a false start. Usually it's either usually it's something like a offensive lineman or a tight end that jumps. But that was the wide receiver far out on the right side.
And Penns Grove calls a timeout now.
Penns Grove going to call a timeout here? They do.
Yeah.
So both teams have 2 timeouts remaining, and Penns Grove down by 4 scores. And it's not 7 years ago. It's 28-0. 3:38 in the third quarter, 28-zip. Paulsboro will be right back. Penns Grove trailing this one 28-0. QB keeper after 2 false starts. We've got a flag on the play.
That looked like face mask.
Defensive, most likely.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, that would make up for the 2 false starts if this is the case. Let's take a look from referee Keith Harris. Personal foul, face mask on the defense. There you go. So I'll tell you this. It doesn't excuse the 2 false starts, but it makes up for it. It's a bit of a compensation prize here.
And if you're Penns Grove, these last 3:25, you got to do what has to be done. But these 12 minutes for this fourth quarter, they have to be yours. I mean, if you want any shot at this game, even looking like if you want any shot at this game right here, this fourth quarter has to be yours. These next 12 minutes have to be yours.
In the next 15 minutes, because you've still got 3 minutes
15?
and 2 off the clock in the third. But I mean, listen, the running clock threshold in New Jersey is 34. So
it is.
Yeah, and we already saw that last night at Point Pleasant Beach. They were up 37-0. So listen, if Paulsboro scores, that's pretty much the game. Once you get the running clock, you need miracles upon miracles to come back. Penns Grove at least with 1 score. Oh, hold on here. He's got a. They'll put him somewhere with forward progress, but that face mask penalty brought them pretty much back to where they started. They were on the 11-yard line.
Calvin Wilkinson Jr. back there causing havoc once again. He's been living in the backfield. Surprised he doesn't pay rent.
That's a good one. By the way, a final score for the Battle at the Beach, the first game of the day. Southern Regional defeated Highland 40-8. And then at the half, in the second game of the day, Delran leads Bridgeton 14-0. And more South Jersey Group 1 action. Manville leads Keyport 19-6, 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. Up the middle, diving forward. How far does he get? He was right near the goal line. Again on the keeper by Erickson. I'm sorry, 21-7 Delran at halftime.
He hurt his shoulder. Erickson came off the sideline holding his shoulder.
Yeah, I saw that. Wind starting to pick up here at Penns Grove.
Very much
To be fair, it's a very flat field. You can see some tall grass on the far side. Reminds me a lot of my college, RCSJ Gloucester, where there's very flat lands. So the baseball games get very windy because there's nothing to stop the wind from coming in, and it just turns into a wind tunnel. Pennsville doesn't have that problem because the trees are a lot closer to the field, but there is open spaces for days. Rush to the left side. This could be Penns Grove's first score of the night. It is! Touchdown, Red Devils! Jameel Horace in the end zone with under a minute in the third quarter. And the Red Devils finally put their stamp in this game and make their impact known. It's 28-6. Paulsboro is still in front by plenty, but what's your call here? You think they go for 2?
I think they're going for 2. I see Erickson jogging
himself
back
Erickson's coming
onto
back
the field.
out.
I like that read option there. Well, he's a Wildcat quarterback, Jameel Horace, of course, but I really like that read right there, able to keep it for himself and sneak into the pylon in the end zone, get in for the first score for Penns Grove, their first of the day.
An 8-yard rush to the left by Jameel Horace. Yes. Again, Penns Grove needing that reinforcement after losing their leading wide receiver due to graduation and their leading rusher due to a transfer to Winslow. Karan Caesar rolls out to the right, looking for 2. Erickson hit as he throws. He gets too much on it. And Erickson staying up actually avoided a potential rough in the passer there because it wasn't a terribly late hit, but he was able to stay up. Again, hit as he threw. And
he's holding that right shoulder back.
Yeah, he got hit.
He's been holding that right shoulder very, very bad.
The question is, though, if Paulsboro gets another score to put this game more or less out of reach, question is if they're going to pull Erickson or if he's going to try to labor through. There's 50.6 seconds left in the third quarter. We'll be right back. 28 for Paulsboro, 6 for Penns Grove. here from Jim Devonshire Field. 50 seconds left in the third quarter. 28 for Paulsboro, 6 for Penns Grove. First score of the day for the Red Devils. As again, Red Devils will kick this one off. The kicker being Romello Erickson, who, as Damian mentioned several times, has been favoring that right shoulder. It hits the 10-yard line. It'll be an illegal kick out of bounds. And Paulsboro will take advantage of it for sure. As we get ready to close out week 0 of the 2025 football season, let's take a look at some out-of-town scores from around South Jersey starting out on Thursday. Northern Highlands beat Holy Spirit 27-12 in the Battle at the Beach. Northern Burlington beat Nottingham 19-14. Ocean City shut out Oakcrest 32-zip. Camden Eastside beat Triton 21-7. Overbrook shut out Cinnaminson 14-zip. Cherry Hill West beat Haddon Heights 24-7. That was our original opening day game, but because the game time got moved, we had to drop it. Riverside beat Palmyra 40-6. Let's see what else is on this list here. Delsea shut out Vineland 35-0, scored 28 points in the first quarter of that game. PVI beat Timber Creek 34-8 on Thursday, and in a fantastic rivalry renewed in Camden Catholic, Pennsauken shut out the Irish of Camden Catholic 34-0. Cherokee beat Middletown South by a point, 27-26. Absegami shut out EHT 21-zip. Cherry Hill East in a long game with Eastern, won at 26-23. Gateway beat Middle Township 29-7. Hamilton beat Franklin High School in North Jersey 24-14. Thought we saw maybe a jump there, but Harvey gets through. He's got a couple of blocks, gets all the way up to the 48, and it'll be a first down with about 12-yard gain. Continuing with Thursday's scores, Gloucester beat Pennsville 44-20. Deptford beat Florence 16-7. Lenape lost to Pocono Mountain West of PA 34-28. Brick Township beat Woodbury 35-22. Kingsway beat Donovan Catholic 20-7. Woodstown beat Pittman 34-14. See what else is on here. Burlington City beat Ewing 30-25. Our opening night game, Cumberland beat Clearview 26-0. IMG Academy of Florida in the game of the week for pretty much everybody under the sun beat Winslow 35-14. Seneca beat Williamstown 23-15. And that's all we got for Thursday. We'll flip over to Friday after this series and end of the third quarter. Penns Grove does get on the board, but will the silver lining turn into anything more than just that? It's 28-6 at the end of the third. We'll take a quick break and we'll flip the field one more time for quarter number 4 from Kearney's Point. We'll be right back. Quarter number 4, 12 more minutes to play. Luckily, they don't have to move the football too far. They are at the Paulsboro 45, actually 46-yard line. Check that. 1st and 10 for Malachi McKenzie and friends as they look to extend their lead after Again, being up 20-0 at the half, adding on 8 more points in the third with a 22-yard pass to Marcus Eli. Rush up the middle, gets stopped. That might be one of the first times that Kyrie really didn't get that much progress. I mean,
might be.
some of his worst runs have been at least 4 or 5 yard gains.
Yes.
Get stopped for 2 that time, 2nd and 8. If they can keep on that pace, do the math. That's going to be 3 and out. But Paulsboro's got to get there first, and Penns Grove's got to get there first.
Yes,
Not a guarantee.
Yes, they do.
We talk about what ifs a lot in high school football, and that's the thing, is that they are what ifs. They are hypotheticals. They are not guaranteed. Kyrie Harvey could break away on this play, and he could go 53 yards to the house for a touchdown and put this game more or less out of reach. Or they could fumble. Nobody knows what's going to happen until the snap happens.
Okay, yeah, Kyrie Harvey.
Oh, movement.
Movement.
Everybody
again.
jumped that time.
Love to see who they
Question
put it on.
is who jumped first.
I
swear to you, I almost saw movement on both sides at the same time.
Me too.
One of the nose tackles jumped Ja'Kai Ingram for Penns Grove.
Wow, I think they're going to put it – it's going to be against
It's going to
Paulsboro.
be Paulsboro, so that'll get him the 2nd and 13. Join us for our high school boys soccer opener of the season in BCSL action on Monday, September 8th, between the Northern Burlington Greyhounds and the Delran Bears. First kick at 3:45 p.m. from the Bears Den in Delran.
Oh, Delran, that's a great soccer program over there.
10 state titles, including two this decade with Tommy Orr.
My.
Northern Burlington's pretty good, too, with Justin Faust as a head coach there. Runs a very aggressive offense and really like the way that they go. It was 1-0 Delran both times that they met last year.
That'll be a great
2nd
game.
and 13. McKenzie drops back, immediately abandons the pocket. We've got flags. Think it might be for something on the line. Yeah, we got a penalty in the backfield. That was thrown as soon as it's going to be on Paulsboro. And Chris Neff not satisfied.
Pass was complete. Small Robinson there.
Not sure.
Flag on the play. Holding.
Robinson with another big catch, but these yards being negated with this flag. Yeah.
So they're going to call holding, looks like. And again, I think that was on the right guard, Chris Neff. So that is going to bring them back, and Paulsboro will now line up from the right hash on their own 33. So they will now have the first down marker at the 46. It'll be 2nd and long, that's for sure. Actually, no, I'm sorry. That is the 10-yard mark at the 46. First down marker's at the 44 on the opposite side. So they have a long way to go. Haven't said it this year yet, but it's 2nd and a country mile. Oh, a good snap read that time from the defensive line. McKenzie's going to get swallowed up, and he will get sacked. It's a minor sack for a loss of 1, but Penns Grove stepping up a little bit here early in the fourth quarter.
That's big for Penns Grove. They've needed to get back there and put some real pressure on that quarterback, Malachi McKenzie. He's been too comfortable in his backfield when it comes to being able to use his legs. If he sees nothing downfield, he's instantly looking to put a move on somebody to get upfield and to really get a good rush, to make something out of nothing. But Penns Grove putting it to him right there, able to get him down at the line of scrimmage. Didn't see much of a gain, if any.
It'll be 3rd and long. Again, I think the sack was maybe a loss of 1.
Just a great play there by that Penns Grove defense. That defensive line is finding their stride.
Time is of the essence, though. Time is ticking. It's 8:39, and Paulsboro calls a timeout.
Yeah.
That is their 2nd and a half, giving Penns Grove a little bit of a bone here, stopping the clock with 8:40. But Paulsboro will definitely need to figure out how they're going to navigate this 3rd and long. This is the most adversity they faced on offense tonight. Penns Grove is finally starting to answer the call. The question is it going to be too little, too late? That is the 2nd timeout burned by Paulsboro. Penns Grove also burned a timeout early in the 3rd. So they have 1 remaining. I'm sorry, they have 2 remaining. My apologies. Paulsboro has 1.
Be interesting to see if Paulsboro goes with a pass here. I'm not saying that they really have to. They could get a good punt.
As we return from the timeout, this broadcast is brought to you by Gray Fox Sports. Want to enhance your content or looking for high-quality photos and videos? That's easy. Get in contact with us today. For quotes, we reach out to our Instagram at Gray Fox Sports, and feel free to visit their website at grayfoxsports.net. That was a shot of the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting mobile with the QR codes on the side from Cooper River Park in Pennsauken. 3rd and long. From around their 30, McKenzie has a lot of room. That O-line's holding up. It is caught by Marcus Eli. He breaks a tackle. Are you kidding me? That's a first down.
He has a first.
Oh, my gosh. He
Marcus
gets tugged at the
Eli.
jersey as he goes out of bounds. And Marcus Eli with a fantastic catch, a fantastic break. And
got more shoving.
yeah,
on
Jeremiah
the
Carr
Penn
wasn't happy
sideline.
with something. Marcus Eli had to get him out of it. And when you're upset and you're on the other team's sideline, can cause some trouble. But again, in a game that is a couple minutes away from being potentially decided, they have to make sure that everybody lets cooler heads prevail. They just, you heard it from up there, they just converted a 3rd and 29. That was after a false start. It was after a holding call and a sack.
And a sack, yeah.
So everything went wrong until it went right. And Penns Grove's best defensive stand now is negated and a moot point now. Whoa! Jeremiah Carr got pushed to the ground, but I think he might have embellished it a little bit. There's some more shoving at the end there. Jeremiah Carr running into some more trouble as he was tugging Zane Thomas, and we're going to have a personal foul somewhere. Jeremiah Carr got a light tap, a light shove from Thomas, and then blew it up a little bit.
And that one was personal.
That one was very personal from
run,
Carr.
Absolutely. A run up the middle, cornerbacks, receivers.
Timeout's called by Penns Grove.
Cornerbacks, receivers, safeties, they usually a run up the middle. They usually be like, all right, let's let the inside guys handle this one.
Yeah.
Let's let the trenches. You know what I'm saying? We'll look like we're blocking each other, but that one right there, the ball's nowhere near, the incident accident.
Yeah.
The ball is that was just really personal right there between Zane Thomas and
the referee called it. They're gonna call a penalty against Penns Grove there.
Yeah.
I mean, listen. I'm gonna say something a little bit controversial, as much as I usually don't. That was embellished. That was a light. It was a shove. Don't get me wrong, but he lifted his legs in the air to fall.
Yes.
I call it out when it happens in soccer. I call it out when it happens in basketball, any other sport where you're trying to sell a foul. That's not the way you play the game. You play the game the way that it was intended to be, and you don't do that. This is not acting school. This is football, and that is not how I think the game should be played.
No, absolutely not.
That's just my opinion. You can disagree with it. Disagree with it. You want. These are high school kids. I'm not gonna be personal here, but that's not how the game should be played. I don't know if my camera caught it either, but the way it looked from my angle is that Zane Thomas and Jeremiah Carr right around the 30-yard line, they were making some, again, we don't have mics on the field. We don't know what was said, and frankly, I don't want to know what was said because there's been too many problems tonight. I'd have to censor out half of the video. But when a situation like that happens, that diminishes the quality of the product we see on the field today.
Don't ever.
And he successfully sold that foul too, because that's a 15-yard penalty against Penns Grove that really shouldn't be. Because the referee was looking at him, and the referee.
Oh yeah, he was watching the whole
again,
time.
I don't like to criticize the referees often. I could not go out and do what they do. I could not go out and put in the work that they put in. But
oh yes,
there needs to be a line where embellishing a situation like that comes with consequences. Because that's trying to make tensions higher than they already are.
They already are. It's already been.
Yeah,
chippy.
it's already chippy tonight. They're at the 20-yard line, lets it fly. One-handed, did he just do that again? No, he stepped out. He caught it, but he stepped out. Jeremiah Carr almost had a Sports Center highlight for the second year in a row. He mossed a Penns Grove defensive back last year in the second quarter. That made it on the ESPN You Got Mossed pregame NFL segment in September. And he almost made a one-handed catch in the corner of the end zone, but he was not in. 8:03 left in the fourth.
Yes, and what a play that was. A true you got Moss fashion, true Randy Moss fashion. Jeremiah went over a Penns Grove defender last year and made an absolutely
Fantastic play.
Fantastic play. Probably one of the best plays I had seen all last year.
Paulsboro tried to draw the Red Devils offside. Harvey gets dropped on the tackle by number 50, Raymond Brown. Okay, so I do have good news. We did get that play that drew the personal foul on the cameras. It was right at the edge, but you can see it. So again, it doesn't change. It probably doesn't change the outcome of the game. It doesn't change the stats on any of these players. It probably doesn't change how either team feels about each other. They probably don't like each other. That's what high school football's about.
Absolutely.
These guys will shake hands at the 50 and, you know, hopefully they'll keep their thoughts to themselves and they'll be fine. But, again, this is a game where emotions pour over more often than not because, again, it's early in the season. Players are frustrated. Paulsboro's frustrated because they don't like how Penns Grove is playing them, and Penns Grove's frustrated because they're losing 28-6. And,
Absolutely.
you know, again, when those come to head, we've got, wow, that is an egregious false start. Harvey gets tagged with one. He might have been 3 yards, jumped off.
It's got to get better communication. Even
again, I
with a
think
great
this is
lead.
still a fragment of those emotions. People aren't settling and calming down.
Nope.
They want to jump. They want to get into it.
They want to get into it. Yeah.
It's the competitive spirit. I have nothing wrong with that, but sometimes it goes a little overboard. Penns Grove's had some good snap reads, good snap jumps on this drive. They throw it out to the right. It's intercepted. Intercepted by the Red Devils. It's taken by number 7, Xavier Allah.
Yeah.
It's intercepted and brought back to about the 10-yard line. We have penalty flags, though, on the play.
Flags towards the backfield where that pass was launched from.
You said, yeah, there's one right at the 20.
Yeah.
It's against Paulsboro. Penalties declined.
Interception for Xavier Allah.
Yeah, I apologize. Xavier Allah, not Xavier Allen. When you read an H as an N on the roster, it can throw you off a little bit.
And a great play there by Allah. He's had to watch a couple of the best that Paulsboro's had to offer when it comes to receivers, and great way to get a pick right there. Believe he had a great defensive play earlier on in the first half. Good day.
So the penalty is against Paulsboro, and let's see where they spot this. That is at the 5-yard line.
Not the 5.
Well, I mean, Erickson has scrambled out of the pocket on the first play of a drive a few times in this second half. And his running back is lined up in the end zone. Haven't seen a safety yet this year.
Nope.
Hand off to number 6. That's Zane Thomas.
Short run for Zane Thomas. Brings up second down.
Erickson's got a little bit of a limp to him. I mean,
He's getting banged up out there.
He definitely
He was
is,
favoring his shoulder after getting hit hard. Now he's limping a little bit. In a game that's 28-6, in a game that is most likely to be won by Paulsboro, I'm going to give him huge props.
Absolutely.
For staying
100%.
out there. There's quarterbacks out there who could say, yeah, we're losing by 20-some points. I'm done. Put the backup in. I'm hurt. Just looking at the body language, he looks pretty banged up, but he's staying in the game and he's fighting for his team. And I have huge respect for that.
100%.
Jump on the right tackle, right guard. Number 66. Once again, Upsher's been hit a couple times with that. For Penns Grove, they are making their 10th appearance on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting today. They'll be playing again on Friday, October 3rd when we visit them. I believe that that's the one game per year that Penns Grove will have their temporary lights brought in, just like Audubon does. They do it one time a year. It'll be 6:30 p.m. on Friday, October 3rd. But again, Penns Grove will become the 27th South Jersey high school to reach 10 appearances or more. For Paulsboro, this is their 18th appearance on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting and their first since February of 2025, I believe.
Shotgun handoff.
False start right on the goal line, the opposite goal line. They are maybe 3 yards out from it. Still don't feel safe about it. It's going to be 3rd and long here after the false start and the rush for no gain.
Okay on the play, 3rd down.
4.5 minutes left. Penns Grove, listen, they have held Paulsboro to just 8 points in this half, and they've almost matched them with a touchdown of their own. I'd like to see Penns Grove get one more touchdown, but Paulsboro has really come into their own today. If you disregard the tensions, if you disregard the emotions, and again, what I mentioned as the unfair embellishment, Paulsboro's played really well. They have a fantastic core with their wide receivers, their quarterback, Malachi McKenzie. He's going to drop back. He's going to pass out of the end zone. It is incomplete.
That was nearly picked off by Robinson.
It was nearly picked off in his own end zone.
Oh.
Would have never seen that before, but I believe that is they can't tell if that's number 2 for Paulsboro. Whoever it was got in quickly, and it's going to be 4th and long.
It looked like 6, Jamal Robinson.
You'd
again.
be right, yeah.
He's been all over the field, offense, defense.
3 minutes and 50 seconds left.
Just making plays. Almost had an interception right there. Had the 78-yard bomb, the catch earlier from Malachi McKenzie to open up the scoring.
Question is, are they going to punt? I mean, Erickson is well back in the deep in the backfield, so it looks like he's going to be punting this one away. Paulsboro getting ready. Penns Grove pep band playing on. Good snap that time. Gets a good spiral. Gets a good little motion on that one. Harvey to return. Up the middle. Oh, he gets hit hard. A couple of times they're rolling over. Big hit was by number 20, Omari Robinson.
That's a good return by Harvey.
Oh, yeah.
Takes it right back into Penns Grove territory.
Absolutely good stuff that time as, again, Harvey, as you said, the key returner for Paulsboro. It's actually going to be returned all the way to about the 12-yard line, maybe the 11. I think that also goes to show how deep Penns Grove was backed up, because when they got the interception, it was intercepted in the end zone. The biggest mistake, though, it was that they intercepted it and then they didn't take a knee in the end zone. They brought it out to the 10. Because they returned it out of the end zone, they only got back to the 10-yard line on the interception. So then when they get a false start, they have a bad rush. They were back at the 3 when they punted. So Harvey picked it up, I think, around the 30, and then nobody had really gotten to him yet, so he had a lot of free space on his board. And that's why they're so close to the end zone on this first play of the drive.
Absolutely.
3:30 and counting. Again, Penns Grove trying to jump the snap. Almost trying to force a hard count there. Rush to Harvey, left side.
He's
Going to find some space, tripping over, and he's going to be at maybe the 2-yard line. He got very close that time. Would be his second rushing touchdown of the afternoon.
Second and goal.
3 minutes left in regulation. Again, our next broadcast will be Tuesday, September 2nd. We've got our first esports broadcast of the fall where we go to the virtual Dover Motor Speedway Banks for BPNR, their 6th of 17 races this year. Well, for Tuesday night action, green flag at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time. McKenzie snaps right side. Harvey's all alone. He cuts towards the middle, and he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Paulsboro. The cherry on top for the Cherry Red Raiders as they get themselves point number 34. It's 34-6. Paulsboro with their second rushing touchdown to Kyer Harvey today. They have scored in pretty much every way you can imagine. And with 2:31 in this one, they put the cherry on top here at Jim Devonshire.
You know, Dan, it's just, and they've had the bodies. They've been in position. They filled the holes. They've been in the gaps to stop Kyer Harvey, to stop this running attack from Paulsboro. They just haven't had the power to do it. Kyer, like I said, a short runner, maybe not as best as a patient runner as some may see or some may want. But when he sees a hole, he's going to hit it. He's going to hit that first hole. He's sure he's going to lower his head. Said he was listed at 5'5", around
5'5", 160.
5'5", 160. That size, folks, and he's going to lower his pad level. He's going to lower his helmet, and he's going to get that extra yard.
Not to mention the fact that his quarterback, Malachi McKenzie, has a good build for a mobile QB as well, 5'11", 175.
Absolutely.
It's just a perfect storm. And this is probably the first chance that Paulsboro has to get back to the Glenn Howard days in the Kevin Harvey era. Wow, how about this? He drags the defender.
What a run.
As a rush into the end zone by Zay Mears is good for 2. Tackled by number 25, Messiah Allah. And it is a 30-point game here in the dwindling minutes of this game from Jim Devonshire Field. We'll stay on the air. 2:31 to play. 36-6. Stay tuned for the DWB postgame show presented by Gray Fox Sports, or excuse me, by DAWG Pro Wrestling, the Dangerous Adrenaline Wrestling Gladiators. It's been a fun one here in Penns Grove. Paulsboro was up 20-zip at the end of the half. They have now added on 16 points. After going 1 for 3 in 2-point conversions in the first half, they now add on 2 more, and they've scored 16 to Penns Grove's 6. Yeah. But no shutout for Penns Grove.
No shutout at all. You can only imagine what Penns Grove's thinking right now. If they would have came out with this energy that they came out with in the second half compared to the energy they came out with in the first half of football against these Red Raiders, they'd be in such a better spot.
Well, Kyer Harvey, 106 rushing yards. Thanks to our good friend Al Muskowitz down there keeping the stats. 106 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. I don't know how to feel because you want to give Kyer Harvey his flowers for his 2 touchdowns, but Malachi McKenzie set him up really well. So I feel like Kyer Harvey's my pick for player of the game right now, but we'll decide that during the post-game show. Stay tuned for it. We'll be on the air for a couple minutes after the game as a short kick with that tall grass. It's going to stop very quickly. Penns Grove cuts to the right, breaks a couple of tackles. They're going to be at the 45, and he will be pushed out of bounds with Calvin Wilkinson Jr. on the lead attack, and Penns Grove is actually, looks like no flags on the play, so they are going to return this all the way into the opposing 44 for a first down to start this drive, 2 minutes, 19 seconds in regulation.
Yeah, it was kind of hard to tell if he was running right there. You know, it looked like he was just like shifting and, you know, like a little bit of
He was doing a little bit more shifting than he was running, but it seemed to work out on the short kick. Again, like we said, this field's a little bit different for the fact that the grass is definitely a little bit taller. You can see where the shoes are. They're kind of sinking into that grass.
This grass is really tall.
And the numbers are faded on the field, but either way, though, sometimes a little bit hard to tell where that ball's spotted. They did say that he got out a couple of yards before, so they got it right on the 50 for Penns Grove. 1st and 10 in the final 2 minutes of this one. Backup quarterback in the game. Romello Erickson is out. Whistles come up. So Erickson getting some Gatorade on the sideline. The new quarterback is number 12, who was not on our roster. Of course, the backup quarterback is the one player not on our roster. I think their roster is the same as ours. Yeah. Mystery Man at QB. Reminds me of, it was a man we called Mystery Man back when I did youth football for the Oakland Cougars. His name was Nicholas Cruz. He is a 2026 guy at PVI. But when we covered Pee Wee football for the Oakland Cougars, they forgot to order a jersey for him, and they couldn't order a jersey until after the season started. 12 back to pass, gets hit as he throws. He's going to get hit down. No roughing the passer that time, unless it wasn't late enough to be one. Interesting.
Yeah, that pass was intended for, it looked like Jerry Wooten.
Yeah, it looked like Wooten on the right side.
Yeah.
But my point is Nicholas Cruz, they didn't have a jersey for him until week 3. So they used whatever jersey was closest to his size. So even though he was a wide receiver, they gave him a jersey that said number 68 on it, and it was 2 sizes too big. And they didn't have a jersey for him until week 3, and none of the parents knew his name until week 2. So we didn't know who he was, and that's why we called him the Mystery Man. And now he's a senior at Paul Sixth as a defensive back. He's a good player, too. Caught to the right side. Wooten gets dropped.
Good pass out to Wooten. And it looks like this time they might get this time they're going to get the roughing the passer call on Paulsboro.
That was the second play in a row that Penns Grove had been hit as they threw. That'll certainly help Penns Grove's efforts to put double digits on the board. Yeah, Jerry Wooten on the reception that time, and then number 12 going back out. Yeah, in addition to there not being a number 12, we don't know who the quarterback is because there's only one quarterback listed on the roster, which is, again, Romello Erickson. Erickson didn't do a bad job, but like I was saying,
not at all.
I give him props for how much he was laboring in that second half with shoulders, and he was limping a little bit in that last drive. I give him a lot of props in a game that is basically decided at this point for staying in as long as he did. I give him huge respect.
100%. He gets a lot of credit from me. You know, he could have easily
just said, "I'm done."
And I'm
Minute
sure,
2 left.
I'm sure Penns Grove was.
Oh, nice catch, Jerry Wooten.
There.
He's going to get wrestled down at the backfield. There's more tackling after the play. Still some linemen getting together and trying to keep the peace here as Paulsboro lineman number 57, Matt Tanzak, comes in. Put on a hit on number 55, Malik Reddick. Again, Penns Grove putting in their second stringers here. James Minor lining up as a wide receiver, Jerry Wooten. They're going to move the spot up to past the 20 after the reset. That was a nice catch by Wooten. It was a high pass.
It was.
Had to bend his knees a little bit, and he barely kept that ball in his control. Pass to the right side again by Wooten. Second and mid-range.
Wooten
stays in play.
Great catch.
Wooten's made, I think, 3 receptions in a row in this drive. With under a minute left. There's 7 seconds left. Penns Grove has a timeout. Are they going to use it? They're waiting. They're waiting. They're just going to let it go.
They will let it go.
How about that? That's the final score from tonight. Penns Grove tried to make a final drive with some second stringers on the field, but no cigar there. Final score, Paulsboro 36, Penns Grove 6, a 30-point win for the Red Raiders on opening weekend. And that closes out our opening weekend as well. A fantastic all-around performance from Paulsboro. Even though the game got chippy at the end, I mean, Paulsboro was really able to just lay down the law. They were able to find any way to be successful, any way to do what they could achieve. They got off to a slow start, but that's because Penns Grove was off to a slow start. Their first drive was 8.5 minutes.
Absolutely.
And then Paulsboro got in, 78-yard touchdown from Malachi McKenzie, and the rest is history. But Penns Grove, they stay cool. They played fundamental football, and I don't think that this loss for Penns Grove will be indicative of the rest of their season. Listen, they went 2-7 last year. they've had to start over for the second year in a row after losing Knowledge Young and losing Karan Caesar to transfer. They've got 1 year left with Romello Erickson. They're going to try to make the best of it going into week 2. I believe they've got – I got to check again. I think they've got Deptford next week, the Red Devils, assuming that the schedule is the same as 2024. Let's flip the camera back around. Dan Wilkins joined by Damian Waiters in the box here at Jim Devonshire Field in Paulsboro. First of all, Dame, this has been an interesting game for the fact that Paulsboro, they hit the ground running and they scored 20 points in the first half, which was very different from what we saw last year. A low-scoring affair that still had the air raid, still saw 27 passes attempted by both quarterbacks last year, but it was 12-7. This year, Penns Grove scores 6 and Paulsboro scores 36. Your thoughts on how Paulsboro played tonight?
Yeah, Paulsboro, it kind of seems as if they had a little bit of memories of how low scoring or how low they scored in that game last year against Penns Grove. They came out here and they really wanted to set the tone early, and it seems like they wanted to really wake Penns Grove up with, 3 scores, and that first score being a 78-yard touchdown, just a bomb like that, or the way a play goes like that, Malachi McKenzie rolling out, and if you're Penns Grove, you're sensing pressure. You think he's coming to the sideline. You think that you have a loss, tackle for loss, a great sack and a great play, and he's just able to direct his receivers and get that score for a good tone setter, a really good tone setter. And like you said, it was really just the defense played great from there. Kyer Harvey, beautiful, small, but just tough in the way his heart is, and tough in the way he runs. Able to carry that workload for the Red Raiders, and that helped him get this W.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Kyer Harvey, he's my player of the game pick for the sole reason. He had 2 touchdowns, 106 rushing yards. He was the all-around guy. He was making stops on defense. He was making great returns. Even though the game was decided, his last punt return went all the way up to the 10-yard line.
Yeah.
He had a lot to like, and I like how Paulsboro played an all-around good game. They had a fantastic quarterback performance from Malachi McKenzie. They had receivers to help, and they had running backs to get there as well. When you have those 3, you've got, the golden fingers. You've got the golden stones.
Yes.
That's how you win games. And, again, Paulsboro was not satisfied with 2 years ago when they went 1-7 with Kevin Harvey in their first year. They got back to it last year almost like they hadn't missed a beat. With Glenn Howard's retirement. Paulsboro is a legendary football program. They're nearing 70 playoff wins. I believe they're 69-33 in their playoff history, and a litany of sectional titles. Before Glassboro, Paulsboro was the team to beat.
Absolutely.
Just like they are for the past 500 years in wrestling. Everybody seems to like what Paulsboro's got, and like I said, they had a little bit of tension, but the good thing for Paulsboro, they didn't let that tension get too much to their head. They had a couple of isolated incidents right at the end, but they mostly kept it cool because they knew that it wasn't worth risking extra penalties or extra foolishness because the game was decided. If it was 28-28 and those happen, then you put your body on the line. Then you put yourself on the line for your team. But the game was decided. Paulsboro read the room and realized, okay, we don't need to do all this. We'll be okay. But my point is, for Paulsboro, they just played a fantastic game. Good quarterbacking from Malachi McKenzie, good rushing from Kyer Harvey, and also some good receptions from Marquise Eli. Eli had 22-yard reception for the 4th touchdown, and then that 78-yard pass to open up the scoring. That really was what set the tone. All of the scores from last year's 12-7 Paulsboro win were 15 yards or less. This starts out with a bang, and that's what you got. I mean, Paulsboro was able to pass effectively, they were able to rush effectively, and they were able to receive effectively, and they kept their penalties to a minimum when it mattered. They had some bad penalties at the end, but that was when the game was decided. And when you talk about when the game mattered at its height, Paulsboro did everything right tonight.
100%. And if you look at even the other side for Penns Grove, this loss doesn't define you.
No.
This loss really doesn't define you at all. You have a good Group 1 schedule that you have to get through, but you have culture.
Right.
And you have a lot of good strength. You have a lot of players that know what it's like to win, know what it's like to be on the side of championships, to be on the side of great rivalry wins. And it's really good to see where these two teams are going to go from here. Really, really good.
I think that this win for Paulsboro is a sign of things to come. Meanwhile, this loss for Penns Grove is more indicative of just I don't know what to describe it, but they struggled out of the gate matching Paulsboro's, effectiveness.
Yes,
they
did.
struggled
Yes,
out of the
they did.
gate matching Paulsboro's efficiency because, again, it is time-consuming on that first drive. The first drive almost meant everything to this game. 8.5 minutes in the first drive, you get up to the 15-yard line and you don't score, and then Paulsboro comes out and they say, hey, watch this, and throw it 78 yards downfield for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that Penns Grove going into Deptford next week, I don't think that they're going to run into too many problems. They beat them 34-0 last year. Both of Penns Grove's wins were 25-plus point shutout wins. They beat a winless Salem with Kemp Carr 25-0 to end the season, and then week 2 they faced Penns Grove Deptford for a 34-0 win. That's who they face next week. I'm not too worried about it, but I think these two teams, again, being out of division, they've got their own they've got their own rivalries. They've got their own stipulations. Got a little bit chippy there, but otherwise, a decent game. Paulsboro wins by 30 points. Your player of the game honor, again, presented by DAWG Pro Wrestling. Our dog of the game is Kyer Harvey. 106 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, and some fantastic defense as well, lining up as a defensive back for Paulsboro, picking up a, again, 36-6 30-point win. Any final thoughts for you before we sign off tonight?
No final thoughts for me. It was a great matchup. Score probably wouldn't make it, help my case when I say that, but it was definitely a great matchup. Two teams who have a lot of culture when it comes to Group 1 football, championships when it comes to Group 1 football. Just Paulsboro able to, really put the kick on the gear in this one in the first half.
Yeah, Paulsboro, I think, was favored in this game because of what Penns Grove lost instead of what Paulsboro gained. When this was a 5-point game last year, Penns Grove still had Knowledge Young. They still had Karan Caesar. When you take those two players out of the equation, it makes it a little bit harder. But Penns Grove was valiant. They didn't embarrass themselves out there, in my opinion. They just played a valiant game. Paulsboro played a little bit better tonight.
Yes.
That'll be all for us tonight from Jim Devonshire Field in Penns Grove, from our entire crew, our social media coordinator, Haley Mejia, our graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Bain, and Carson Rosso, my producer to my right, Ben Wilden, my color commentator, Damian Waiters, both of them doing their respective roles for the first time. They've worked with us before, but he's never done color, at least on our network, and he's never done production. Both of them did a fantastic job. I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you on Tuesday for esports from Dover Motor Speedway, or if you just like some gridiron, if you just like some football, we'll see you Thursday at Washington Township versus Penn Saucon. Have a good one, folks. 36-6 the final.